In a game built on bluffing and misdirection, one man rose to the top without saying a word.
Maybe the WPT is to start beheading people that cheat.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's unacceptable, right, to cheat somebody. Right, it's like, that's unacceptable.
Imagine sitting across from someone who never flinched, never blinked, someone who seemed to read your thoughts without giving up a single clue of his own. That's what opponents saw when this stone-faced prodigy took his seat. No trash talk, no theatrics, just one cold, unreadable expression. And with that alone, he carved out one of the most intimidating legacies the poker world has ever seen. Phil Ivey's journey begins in Riverside, California, where he was born on February 1st, 1977. But just a few months later, his family moved across the country to Roselle, New Jersey, a quiet little suburb where Ivey would spend his childhood. That's where the seeds of greatness were first planted. Phil Ivey learned poker at just 8 years old from his grandfather, quickly showing a gift for strategy and competition, not just in cards, but in games like chess and backgammon. As a teen, he worked at McDonald's, then found a telemarketing job where he spent breaks playing 5-card stud. His skills grew fast, and soon, home games weren't enough. Too young for casinos, he used a fake ID borrowed from a friend of his dad's and started playing in Atlantic City as Jerome Graham. He was there so often, players and staff called him No Home Jerome. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were times he missed the last bus home or couldn't even afford it. On more than one occasion, he slept under the boardwalk, all just to keep chasing his poker dream. He'd grind for 16 hours straight at the Taj Mahal, studying every hand he played, even the ones he won. It was a brutal but necessary part of building his bankroll. That telemarketing gig helped keep him afloat when things got rocky, but eventually the 2-hour commute was holding him back. So he made the leap, moved out of his parents' place, and got an apartment in Atlantic City. He was living and breathing poker, knowing everyone from the dealers to the floor managers. Word spread fast about this young guy who'd once slept under the boardwalk and was now making serious moves at the tables. In just a year, Jerome was playing in the biggest stud games in the city, sometimes for $75 to $150 a hand, and even up to $400 when high rollers were around. He quit his job and was now living entirely off poker, officially becoming a pro, even if his parents weren't exactly thrilled. Then came the moment of truth. About a year after moving to Atlantic City, he walked into the Taj Mahal casino and casually let it slip. It was his 21st birthday. For the first time, he could legally sit at the tables in New Jersey. He told the shift manager his real name was Phil, not Jerome. He headed west, to the Commerce Casino, just outside Los Angeles, a place known for high-stakes action and serious competition. That's where he first landed on the radar of 2 seasoned pros, Barry Greenstein and Daniel Negreanu. At first, both of them saw Ivey as a bit reckless, a fish, in poker terms, playing way too many hands and diving into pots without much caution. But even with all that wild energy, they saw something in him. Instead of writing him off, they took him under their wing, offering advice and mentorship. Ivey soaked it all in. Their guidance helped sharpen his instincts and tighten up his game, paving the way for his entry into the legendary Big Game in Las Vegas. Though Ivey was mostly known for crushing cash games, he decided to dip his toes into the tournament world in 2000. That April, he played his first recorded open event, a $540 limit hold'em tourney at the first annual Jack Binion World Poker Open in Tunica. Out of nearly 300 players, Ivey came out on top, walking away with just over $53,000. Not bad for a debut, but he wasn't done, not even close. That same year, he showed up at the 2000 World Series of Poker and made history. Ivey cashed in 3 events at the WSOP, but it was the $2,580 pot limit Omaha tournament that really put him on the map. He bulldozed through a field of 100 top-tier players and took home a staggering $195,000. More importantly, he earned his first WSOP bracelet. The final table wasn't just tough, it was legendary. Alongside Ivey were 3 future Poker Hall of Famers: himself, Phil Hellmuth, and Dave Devilfish Ulliott. And then there was the icon, Thomas Amarillo Slim Preston. Ivey went heads up against Preston, who pulled out all the stops to shake the young prodigy's focus. Preston was loud and sharp-tongued, constantly trying to throw Ivey off his game. But Ivey stayed calm, focused, and unfazed. He beat Preston soundly in what turned out to be Slim's final WSOP appearance. It felt like a symbolic moment, as if the old guard was handing the torch to the next era's king. At just 23 years old, Ivey had already built a reputation as a cold-blooded poker killer. What really set him apart, even back then, was his sheer presence at the table. Every great player has their thing, and for Ivey, it was intimidation. He was infamous for that deep, unblinking stare, one that could pierce right through a person's soul. It wasn't about showmanship. When Ivey locked eyes with an opponent, it meant his brain was going into overdrive. He was analyzing everything: past hands, bet patterns, body language, calculating every possible outcome. Everything. That level of focus, combined with raw talent and nerves of steel, made Phil Ivey one of the most feared players in the game. And once that became clear, the poker world knew. They weren't just watching a rising star, they were witnessing the rise of a legend. Before 2002, winning 3 bracelets in a single World Series of Poker was almost unheard of. Only 3 legends had ever done it: Walter "Puggy" Pearson in 1973, then Phil Hellmuth and Ted Forrest in 1993. But in 2002, Phil Ivey changed everything. He bagged 3 events that year: the $1,500 limit 7-card stud for $132,000, the $2,500 stud high-low for $118,000, and the $2,000 limit shoe for $107,000. It was a jaw-dropping run that earned him the nickname the Phenom. In 2005, he took down his 5th bracelet in a $5,000 pot limit Omaha event for over $635,000. Just months later, he scored his first $1 million payday by winning the Monte Carlo Millions, banking a clean $1 million. Around this time, he also played one of poker's most iconic hands in a legendary bluff battle against Paul Jackson. But one of Ivey's most iconic moments came in 2006, when he was called in as the closer for The Corporation, a group of elite pros who had joined forces to take on billionaire banker and math whiz Andy Beal. By then, Beal had already dominated the game, leaving the team down $13.6 million. Enter Ivey. Over 3 days, he not only erased that loss, but walked away with $16.6 million in profit, forcing Beal to retreat from the game entirely. 2009 was another monster year. He won 2 more bracelets, one in no limit 2-7 low ball, and another in Omaha 7-card stud high-low, bringing his total to 7. He even made the main event final table, finishing 7th for $1.4 million. That same year, he became one of the faces of Team Full Tilt, diving into high-stakes online games, where 6-figure pots were the norm. He was a perfect fit for the site, especially with his love for all variants and nosebleed stakes. It was during this time that fans started calling him the Tiger Woods of poker. In 2010, Ivey grabbed his 8th bracelet by winning a $3,000 horse event, raking in another $329,000. But while bracelets and trophies stack up, what sets Ivey apart is his dominance in high-stakes cash games. From 2007 to 2011, Phil Ivey dominated online poker, winning 19.2 million ETIRs in cash games on Full Tilt Poker, while earning $920,000 monthly as a brand ambassador. At that point, life couldn't have looked better. He was winning big, respected across the poker world, and sitting comfortably at the top. But on April 15th, 2011, Black Friday, the US government shut down Full Tilt for illegal operations, wiping out Ivey's stake. Players discovered their funds were missing, sparking outrage. To show his solidarity, Ivey boycotted the 2011 WSOP and took legal action against Full Tilt, a move that helped prompt PokerStars to acquire the site and reimburse its players. When Full Tilt relaunched, Ivey returned as polarizing, but his success never matched his earlier dominance. In 2012, he bounced back in a big way at the Aussie Millions, crushing the $250,000 challenge and walking away with a cool $2 million and over $2 million in US dollars. It was another massive win. But later that same year, everything changed, one that would shake his career to its core. During a poker tournament in Australia, Phil Ivey met Chung Yin Kelly's son, a gambling insider with a shady past. She revealed a secret tactic to beat baccarat, edge sorting, exploiting tiny flaws on card backs to predict upcoming cards. To pull it off, they needed specific conditions, certain decks, a Mandarin-speaking dealer, and control over card orientation. After a successful $3 million test run in Australia, they took the scheme global, winning millions. At London's Crockford's Club, Ivey won £7.8 million, but the casino refused to pay, accusing him of cheating. Ivey sued, but courts ruled edge, sorting gave him an unfair advantage, even if it wasn't outright deception. In a parallel US case, Atlantic City's Borgata won a $9.6 million judgment against him for breach of contract. Later, Borgata even tried seizing his WSOP winnings, sparking a legal feud with fellow players over profit splits. The saga ended in a confidential settlement, leaving the poker world split. Was Ivey a genius or a cheat? After spending some time out of the spotlight, Phil Ivey returned to the game with a whole new fire. He spoke about feeling more connected to poker than ever, fully present, not caught up in the past or future. It wasn't just about the wins anymore. It was about the joy of playing. For Ivey, poker felt fresh again, almost like falling in love with the game all over. Fast forward to June 2021, and Ivey proved he was still a force to be reckoned with by dominating the $25,000 WPT Heads-Up Championship on Poker King. Then came the 2024 $10,000 limit 2-7 Triple Draw Championship, a true grind. With 139 players and a marathon final table that stretched into a rare fourth day, the event tested everyone's endurance. Ivey, though, rose to the occasion. Against the odds and down to just one big bet at one point, he pulled off a stunning comeback to win his 11th WSOP bracelet, ending a decade-long drought. This victory wasn't just another title, it was historic. It pushed him ahead of legends like Eric Seidel, Doyle Brunson, and Johnny Chan, who all sit with 10 bracelets, and placed him second only to Phil Hellmuth's record, 17. The $347,400,440 payday also took his total WSOP earnings past the $10 million mark. After the win, Ivey reflected on his journey. He admitted that while his life now includes family and priorities beyond poker, the passion is still alive. He said he still gets fired up for WSOP events. And that's what makes Phil Ivey such a legendary figure, feared and respected not just for his aggression or his uncanny reads, but because he's the rare kind of player who excels in every format, especially mixed games. In fact, all 11 of his bracelets came from non-hold'em events. Young players still look up to Ivey, and it's no surprise why. Whether it's on the felt, in high-stakes cash games, or risking millions at the baccarat tables, he's always chasing greatness. His path to the top wasn't easy, but he made it, building a career that's not just impressive, but nearly impossible to match, all by overcoming the odds and keeping his eyes locked on the prize.